In this video, I'll be showing you how to make a letter Z using a rubber band loom. I'm going to be using a rainbow loom, but you can use any brand of loom that has the pins in a straight row. You're only going to be working with one row of pins, so I've removed the other two. But if you have a loom that the pins don't come off, that's okay. You're going to need 18 rubber bands to make the letter Z. You're going to start with the arrows facing away from you, and for every band that we put on, it's going to be doubled. So in order to do that, you can place it on your hook, twist, and put it back on so that you'll see two bands on your hook. We're going to start at the end, and we're going to place 4 rubber bands up the loom, and they're just going to go one right after the other. And as you're putting them on, you want to push them down to the bottom because we will be adding another layer on top of this. So this is my 4th one. And now we're going to go back to the start, and this time we are going to place 11 rubber bands up the length of the loom. So again, they're all going to be doubled, and just go right on top. And you want to push these down a little bit. They don't have to get pushed all the way to the bottom, because this is the top layer of bands. But you do need to have enough room that you can add your next rubber band on that pin. And so now we've gone the length of 4. We want to go 7 more. Some people like to use their fingers to double bands, and if you find that more comfortable or quicker for you, you can certainly do that. I find when I am just doubling a band on one single pin, I prefer to use my fingers, but when I'm having to stretch the bands out, I like to use my hook. So we have 2 more to place here. And now your last band is going to be 1 pin short from the end of the loom. And on this last pin, we want to place a cap band. So in order to do this, you're going to put it on your hook and twist. We're going to quadruple it, twist and put it back on, twist and put it back on. So you'll see 4 rubber bands on your hook. We're going to place it right on top. And now you're going to turn your loom around. So now the arrows will be facing towards you. And you're going to take your hook and go down through the center of this end pin. Push back on those top 4 bands. Grab the bottom 2. You want to hold this in place so the cap band doesn't come off. And move that forward. We're going to go the length of 4 rubber bands. So this is our 2nd one. And now that's the 3rd. And 1 more for the 4th. And so now what we want to happen is we're going to put your thumb over top of this last band where we just put the last loop, because we don't want that to come off, but we want all of these other bands that we looped to come off. So I'm going to put my hook down through the middle and pull these off. And now you're going to take these bands and move them, twist them all the way around so that they're going back on itself here, going 180 degrees. And what you want to do is on this rubber band, that would be the next loop. It was the band that was down here below we want it to move above and go back on this pin. So if you stretch this out, you should be able to see the loop. Let's see if I can get a good angle here. You can see inside of this loop right here, you're going to place your hook down through all of the bands, and you're going to move that up and put it right on top of that pin. It's a little bit difficult to do, and you're just going to let this other piece here just hang a little bit off to the side, a little bit off to the right. And now you're going to go down through this end pin, push back on those upper bands, grab those bottom two. Make sure that you're getting both of them. If you need to, you can separate them like I just did. Grab these bottom two bands and move them forward. Again, you're going down through, grabbing these bottom two and moving them up. We're going to go all the way up to the top. Now when you get to this pin, you can see we have that lower layer that's on. We're not doing anything to that. We're just grabbing these top two bands and going up. Going all the way to the top. And now what we're going to do is I'm going to put my thumb on the second pin in from the end of the loom. I'm going to hold that in place, and now I'm going to take all of the rest of these bands off. I'll start at the bottom with my hook and just carefully release all of these from the pins. And now again, I want to slide this around. So I don't want it to come too far over. I just want it to be angled down towards me. And now on this end pin here that's closest to me, I need to place another cap band, the one that has the band on it here. So I'm going to quadruple this band and then place the cap band right on the top. It's going to be tight. You want to make sure all four of the loops go around that pin. And now it's time for me to loop the last bands. So I'm pushing back on the top four, grabbing the bottom two, holding that cap band in place, and I'm just going to work my way up. And these pins on the end are full. You're just going down through all of the upper bands, getting those bottom two. And then on this very end pin, you're going to reach down through and push your hook out to the side. Grab this last rubber band and pull it up through. And put the other loose end back on. And now you can carefully release the rest of this. And then you want to take the part of the rubber band that's closest to the end of the hook, pull it through the other, and then pull tightly. And then here is your letter Z. So you may have to adjust it a little bit. You want to get it as straight as possible. To just tug on these bands a little bit. And here we have, it looks like these two loops are a little bit fatter than the other two, so you can just fix that. And then there is your letter. And here is another letter Z that I made. This one I used green sparkle bands for. And this one was a little bit harder to do because these bands are more rubbery and they're stiffer. So it was a little bit harder to maneuver the bands around. But I still think it turned out pretty cool. So that is the letter Z alphabet charm. I hope that everyone enjoyed this tutorial. You can always leave me comments on YouTube and Facebook, post pictures of your creations to my Facebook page, and please feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can stay up to date on all of my latest tutorials. You can also find me on Pinterest and Instagram, so please feel free to subscribe to those as well. Thank you!